Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the raw, fundamental forces that are powering the AI revolution. We're talking about a shockwave that's building right now, one that most people just don't see coming. And look, this isn't another cute update about chatbots. This is about a tectonic shift in the actual velocity of intelligence and what that means for the entire structure of our economy.
So here's the roadmap for today. We're going to start with a mind-blowing new benchmark for AI speed. Then we'll get into the economics of it all, how this thing is actually being driven. We'll look at how AI is ditching human language altogether, the crazy feedback loops causing this hyper-acceleration, and then the big one, the collision of two massive economic forces. And we'll finish with a pretty stark warning about what's coming next.
All right, let's get right into it. To really wrap our heads around the scale of what is happening, we first have to completely recalibrate our idea of speed itself. You know, the AI we've been playing with so far. It's kind of given us a false sense of security, a feeling that's about to be completely and utterly shattered. See, we've been tricked into thinking that AI thinks on a human timescale. You know the drill, right? You type in a prompt, it thinks for a second, and then the words stream out. But that is just an illusion, a trick of the user interface. The real processing speed is jumping into a whole new dimension. Let's put it this way. Think of tokens as basically chunks of words or code. An average person speaks at about 100 tokens a second. The new hardware we're seeing, it's pushing past a speed that is just orders of magnitude faster.
Yeah, look at that number, 15,000 tokens per second. This comes from a breakthrough by a company called Thales. What they're doing is they're literally etching the AI models, the transformers themselves, directly onto silicon. The result? An almost instantaneous response. 15,000 tokens a second is more information than any human could possibly absorb, and it's delivered in the blink of an eye. This isn't just a small step up, it's a fundamental phase change in how fast intelligence can operate.
And here's the real kicker. It's not just about raw speed. This new form of intelligence is just better. It's more efficient. It can learn from one mistake and then never make it again. Think about us. We are biological systems, right? We're bound by computation. We get tired, we forget what we talked about last week, we have physical and mental limits. AI, it has zero of those constraints. Its ability to get faster and better is just relentless, and it's always expanding.
So what does all this incredible speed actually do? Well, it has profound economic consequences, and it starts by dismantling the very foundation of how digital profits have been made for decades, a concept called friction.
A huge chunk of our modern digital economy is built on this one simple idea. Every single time you use an app that makes a complex task easy, like booking a flight or doing your taxes or even just sharing a big file, you are paying to have friction removed. Every software as a service company is, at its core, a friction removal business. And that fee you pay, that's what some people have called the idiot tax.
So this is the key point right here. Frictions are profitability. Every single barrier, every complicated step, all the confusion that a company simplifies for you, that represents a profit margin they can charge you for. The more friction they can take away, the more they can charge. The entire digital world is built on layers and layers of these profitable frictions. So, what happens when AI agents can just automatically navigate and eliminate all of that friction for you? Well, the entire value proposition of these middleman companies completely collapses. The idiot tax just vanishes. And when it goes, so does the entire basis for their profit. The cost of getting something done suddenly plummets down to the bare metal cost of compute power and electricity.
And this isn't theory. It is already happening. Check this out. A team of AI agents was recently told to build a web browser from scratch. And just look at these numbers. 3 million lines of code. That's about 3 billion tokens. This is a monumental task that used to take years and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And now, it costs around $30,000. That's less than a junior programmer signing bonus. And that cost is still an absolute freefall. This economic demolition is just one piece of the puzzle. The next giant leap in acceleration comes from removing the single biggest bottleneck in the whole system, us. And more specifically, the clumsy, inefficient way that we communicate. I mean, think about what programming code really is. It's just a translation layer. It's the structured language we invented to try and translate our messy human thoughts into instructions a machine can actually understand. It's a bridge, and it's a bridge we built for ourselves, because our brains can't speak directly to silicon.
But here's the thing. When machines talk to each other, they don't need that bridge. They can completely bypass the slow, messy, often ambiguous layer of human language and just communicate directly at the byte level.
It's a perfectly efficient, lossless transfer of pure information.
And this comparison just reveals a staggering difference. Our communication is lossy, right? Nuance gets lost when we go from a thought to a word to code. We have to sleep. We can't scale easily. You can't just make 10 copies of your best engineer. AI agents, though, they work 24/7. They can be duplicated infinitely to just swarm a problem. And they have perfect recall. We are fundamentally limited biological systems. They are not.
So this ability to collaborate at machine speed leads us right to the feedback loops that are making this whole revolution accelerate on its own. The system is actually starting to pull itself forward now.
Okay, there are two key engines driving this hyper-acceleration. First, you've got self-recursive learning. AI models are now designing and training the next generation of AI models. It's a closed loop of insanely rapid improvement. Second, they have perfect, scalable memory. When one agent learns something new or solves a tricky problem, it can just write that knowledge down to an external file, like a simple markdown text file. This creates a shared knowledge base that the entire network of agents can tap into instantly. One agent learns, and that knowledge spreads to millions.
And now we come to the absolute core of this explainer, the collision of two massive, simultaneous exponential trends. This is the part of the equation that almost nobody is modeling correctly, and it's what creates the tsunami.
Okay, on one hand, you have the cost of energy, which is the fundamental input for all of this computation, and it is collapsing in an exponential downward trend, thanks mostly to the plummeting cost of solar power. Then, on the other hand, you have the capability of AI intelligence, which is rising in a sharp, exponential upward trend. A core resource is becoming virtually free at the exact same moment that the most powerful tool for using that resource is exploding in capability. The combination of these two forces creates a multiplier effect that is so much greater than the sum of its parts. To put it in networking terms, it's not just additive, it's explosive. It's a squared effect, a shock wave that is set to fundamentally and violently reshape the entire economic landscape.
And this brings us to our final and most crucial point. This is not some distant science fiction future we're talking about. This is a warning for right now. The conditions for massive, widespread disruption are already here.
And we do not need to wait for some conscious, superhuman AGI to feel this economic impact. All we need is what we have right now, actually competent intelligence, AI that can simply get the job done. Because let's be honest, most of the global economy isn't about brilliant, innovative breakthroughs. It's about competently executing known tasks over and over again.
The jobs most at risk are not just the repetitive factory tasks we always hear about. No, the first wave is coming for knowledge work. As one expert put it, anything that can be done on the other side of a screen, a GPU can do it better. That's coding, accounting, graphic design, legal research, customer service, you name it. And the timeline for this, it isn't a decade away. The prediction is by the end of this year or next year at the absolute latest. This might be the most sobering part of all. The disruption that's coming could be like a 1929-style event, where the people who lose their jobs don't get rehired for those same kinds of roles. Because why would a company rehire a human employee when, for $1,000, they can take all the emails and documents that person has ever created and spin up a digital clone that will do the job better, faster, cheaper, 24/7?
And so this is the really provocative thought we want to leave you with. This is not theoretical. The tools to create these digital workers exist today. So if your entire value as a knowledge worker is contained within your digital footprint, the urgent question we all need to start asking ourselves is, what happens next? Thank you for watching. If you got something from this, please like the video and support the channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That really helps us. Thanks again.